Proverbs chapter 1. These are Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. For you to obtain wisdom and instruction. To penetrate words of significance. To acquire well-ordered knowledge. And become just with discernment and integrity. Simple people will become clever. And the young will acquire understanding and foresight. Let the wise man listen, he will add to his learning. And the man of sound judgment will acquire skill. To understand the proverbs and sayings. The words of the wise and their riddles. The beginning of knowledge is the fear of Yahweh. Only fools have contempt for wisdom and discipline. Avoid the company of evildoers. Listen, my son, to the teaching of your father, do not ignore your mother's instruction, for they will be your graceful crown, a precious chain around your neck. My son, if sinners try to tempt you, do not give in. They will invite you, come with us, let us spill blood, let us ambush the innocent without a second thought. We will engulf them as does the netherworld and snatch them suddenly as does death. We will help ourselves to many riches and fill our houses with booty. Join forces with us. My son, do not go with them, do not set foot along their way. See how they speed on to evil. How they hasten to spill blood. What bird would fall into a trap if you set it up in its sight? But these people stalk themselves and set a trap for their own lives. Such is the lot of all who live by plunder, plunder will rob them of their own lives. Listen to me today. Wisdom shouts aloud in the streets, she raises her voice in the marketplace. You ignorant people, how long will you continue to cling to your foolishness? How long will mockers revel in their mockery, and fools have contempt for knowledge? Listen to my warning. I will now pour my spirit upon you and make you know my words. Indeed, if I cry out and you refuse to listen, if I offer my hand and no one cares, if you ignore my advice and reject my warning, I, in turn, will laugh at your disaster, I will sneer when terror grips you. Then people will cry to me but I will not respond. They will seek me but will not find me, because they despised knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. They will harvest the fruit of their evil ways and have their fill of their own designs. For the error of the ignorant leads to death, the idleness of fools brings about their ruin. But whoever listens to me will feel secure and at ease, without fear of evil. Proverbs. It is good to acquire wisdom. Chapter 2. My son, if you heed my words and value my commands, with your ear attentive to wisdom and your heart obedient to understanding. For Yahweh gives wisdom and from his mouth come knowledge and insight. He reserves his help for the upright and is a shield for those who walk in integrity. Then you will understand justice, discernment and integrity, all that leads you to happiness. Wisdom will abide in your heart and knowledge will comfort your inner self. Foresight will guide you and understanding will protect you. It will guard you from evil, from people of misleading speech, from those who have abandoned the ways of honesty to walk the roads of darkness. Wisdom keeps you from the alien woman, from the stranger with her smooth words, who deserts the partner of her youth and forgets the covenant of her God. For her house inclines towards death, her paths towards the grave. Those who go to her never return, they do not regain the paths of life. So you will walk along the way of the good, and keep to the paths of the virtuous. For the honest will inherit the land. The evildoers instead will be cut off from the land. The wicked will be rooted out of it. Proverbs chapter 3. My son, do not forget my instruction, my commands. Let loyalty and kindness never leave you. Put wisdom into practice. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart. Do not consider yourself wise, fear God, and turn away from evil. This will be a medicine to your body and a relief to your bones. Honor Yahweh, giving him from what you have, the first fruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, your vats will brim over with wine. My son, do not scorn the discipline of Yahweh. Happy the one who finds wisdom and gains insight. For she is of more value than silver and more useful than gold. She is more precious than pearls. She is a tree of life for those who clasp her. It is by his wisdom that Yahweh founded the earth. My son, hold on to sound judgment and discretion and do not let them out of your sight. They will give life to your inner self, and adorn your neck. Then you can go your way safely and your foot will not stumble. You will have no fear when you lie down and your sleep will be peaceful. You will not fear sudden terror or the attack of evildoers. For Yahweh is at your side and he guards your steps from the snare. Do not hold back from those who ask your help, when it is in your power to do it. Do not say to your neighbor, go away. Come another time. Do not plot evil against your neighbor who lives trustingly beside you, nor fight a man without cause when he has done you no wrong. Do not envy the man of violence or follow his example. For Yahweh hates the wicked but guides the honest. He curses the house of the evildoer but blesses the home of the upright. If there are mockers, he mocks them in turn but he shows his favor to the humble. The wise will possess his glory while the foolish will inherit disgrace. Proverbs. Keep to the right path. Chapter 4. Listen, my sons, to a father's instruct Ion and pay attention so that you may gain insight. For I have given you good principles. For when I, too, was a young boy, and my mother fondly looked on me as special, my father taught me and said to me, treasure my words in your heart. Acquire wisdom and insight and do not forget or reject the words of my mouth. Do not abandon wisdom for she will protect you. Love her and she will be your salvation. The beginning of wisdom is to work to acquire it. At the cost of all you possess, strive to gain insight. Hold her close, for she will exalt you and bring you honor if you embrace her. She will crown you with grace and put a diadem of splendor on your head. Listen, my son, and take my words to heart. Because I have taught you the way of wisdom and have guided you along honest ways, you will walk with ease and run without falling. Hold firm to discipline. Do not follow the way of the wicked nor walk with evildoers. Avoid them, turn your back on them and pass on. For they do not sleep unless they have done evil. The way of the upright is like the dawn that becomes brighter until the fullness of day. The way of the wicked is total darkness and they do not notice that which will make them fall. My son, be attentive and listen carefully to my words. Never let them out of your sight but guard them in the bottom of your heart. For they are life to those who cling to them and healing for the inner spirit. Above all else, guard your heart, for therein is the source of life. Keep your mouth from lies and let not deceit come from your lips. Keep your sight on what is ahead and your eyes directed straight in front of you. Test the ground under your feet and all your ways will be secure. Turn neither to left nor to right and keep your path from evil. Proverbs. Beware of the adulteress. Chapter 5. My son, pay heed to my wisdom and listen to my insights. Know that the lips of the adulteress are sweet as honey and her words smoother than oil, but the outcome is bitter as herbs. It is as sharp as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to the grave and her steps lead to death. She pays no attention to the path of life and strays without knowing it. Now then, my son, listen to me and do not forget my words, stay away from her and never approach the door of her house, lest you surrender your honor to strangers and your best years to cruel men, lest others benefit from your goods, and your earnings go to an alien house. You will complain in the end, when your body and flesh are already devoured and you will say, why did I reject instruction and turn my back on sound advice? Why did I not listen to the voice of my teachers and follow their counsel? For I have come to the depths of disgrace in the midst of the whole community. Drink, then, from the water of your own cistern, from that which flows in your own well. Do not let your fountains be wasted elsewhere nor in the public streets. They are for you alone and not for strangers. May your fountainhead be blessed and may you find joy in the wife of your youth, your beautiful hind and graceful gazelle. May her breasts be your delight at all times, be always in love with her. My son, why be infatuated with an adulteress and embrace a strange woman? For Yahweh watches the ways of men and he observes all their paths. The wicked will be caught in his own evil and remain entangled in the nets of his own sin. He will die for want of discipline and will drown in the rising tide of his own evil. Proverbs. Chapter 6. My son, if you have stood bail for your neighbor or guaranteed the word of a stranger. The idlers and the fools. You idler, go to the ant, watch her ways and be wise. She has no master, no steward or overseer. She secures food in summer and stores up provisions during harvest time. How long, you idler, are you going to lie around? When do you intend to rise from sleep? A little drowsiness and your laziness creeps upon you, and then, like a tramp, poverty comes, bringing misery like a vagabond. The villain, the unjust man, goes about with a sneer on his lips, winking his eye, shuffling his feet and beckoning with his finger. His heart is deceitful. There are 6 things Yahweh hates. My son, respect your father is instruct Ion and do not reject your mother's teaching. Hold them forever in your heart and hang them around your neck. These will guard your footsteps, protect you when you sleep and speak to you on waking. For the commandment is a lamp and the teaching a light. It will protect you from the evil woman, the smooth talking of the stranger. Do not covet her beauty in your heart or let her captivate you with her looks. For the prostitute deserves a piece of bread, but the adulteress hunts after your worthy life. Can you hold fire in your pocket without setting fire to your clothes, or walk on hot coals without burning your feet? So it is for the man who approaches his neighbor's wife, all who touch her will be punished. One does not condemn the hungry thief who steals to fill his stomach. Jealousy inflames the husband's heart, and when he can take revenge he will have no mercy. He will accept nothing, neither reparation nor lavish gifts. Proverbs chapter 7. My son, keep my words and remain faithful to my commands. Hold fast to my instruction and you will have life. From my window I was looking out through the lattice, and I saw among the young men, an inexperienced youth who walked along the road near her corner, towards the path to her house. It was dusk, daylight was fading, the time of darkness and shadow. And look! Out comes this woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute, covered with a veil. She is brazen and shameless, unable to remain in the house. Now at the corner, now in the square, she is on the lookout. She throws herself at him, kisses him and confidently says, I have to offer sacrifices and terminate my vows. She led him astray with such smooth and seductive words. At once he followed her, as an ox led to slaughter or a deer caught in a snare until its liver is pierced by an arrow. Now then, my sons, listen and pay attention to my words. Do not be led astray or lose yourself on her paths. For she has brought many to their death, and the strongest were all her victims. Her house leads to hell and death. Proverbs. Wisdom calls. Chapter 8. Who calls? Is it not wisdom? Who lifts up her voice? Is it not knowledge? She shouts from the hilltops, and waits by the crossroads. In the vicinity of the city gates she speaks. To you, people, I call. For my message is directed to all that live, so that the ignorant may learn, and the thoughtless come to their senses. Listen to me, for I speak of vital things, and everything I say is true. Truthful words come from my mouth, and my lips do not lend themselves to evil. All my words are right. None are twisted or deceitful. The intelligent will verify their truth. The wise perceive their sincerity. Prefer my teaching to silver, and seek wisdom rather than gold. Because wisdom has more value than any jewel, and all that you may desire cannot equal it. I, wisdom, dwell with discretion, and count prudence among my friends. The fear of Yahweh is rejection of evil. I hate all pride, arrogance, wicked ways and lies. But I love counsel, discretion, prudence and strength. Kings reign by my power. Their ministers issue just laws. By me princes govern. and the great and noble of the earth as well. I love those who love me, and go to meet those who seek me. Riches and honor are with me. True well-being and upright living, more precious than silver and gold, are my fruit and my yield. I proceed on the path of righteousness, and make use of the ways of justice, giving riches to those who love me, and filling their cellars. Yahweh formed me at the beginning. Yahweh created me first. At the beginning of his works, he formed me from of old. From eternity, even before the earth. The abyss did not exist when I was born. The springs of the sea had not gushed forth. The mountains were still not set in their place. Nor the hills, when I was born. Before he made the earth or countryside, or the first grains of the world's dust. I was there when he made the skies, and drew the earth's compass on the abyss. When he formed the clouds above, and when the springs of the ocean emerged. When he made the sea with its limits, that it might not overflow. When he laid the foundations of the earth, I was close beside him, the designer of his works, and I was his daily delight, forever playing in his presence, playing throughout the world, and delighting to be with humans. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Happy are those who follow my ways. Listen to my teaching and gain wisdom. Do not ignore it. Happy are those who listen to me, and wait at my gates every day, watching, close to my threshold. Those who find me find life. Theirs is Yahweh's blessing. Those who offend me will undergo affliction. They hate me for they love death. Proverbs. Wisdom invites to her table. Chapter 9. Wisdom has built her house, set upon 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her beasts, prepared her wine and laid her table. Next, she sent her servants to call from the central square of the city. Pass by here, you who are fools. To the senseless she says, come, eat and drink. Of the bread and wine I have prepared. Give up your foolishness and you will live. Take the straight path of discernment. He who corrects a mocker gains insults. Fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and to know the Holy One brings discernment. Then I will multiply your days and increase your years of life. If you are wise, your wisdom will work to your advantage, but if you mock, you alone will be harmed. Lady Foolishness is impetuous, a simpleton who knows no thing. She sits at the door of her house, on a throne in the central square of the city, to invite all passers-by, come here, whoever is ignorant. To the foolish she says, stolen waters are sweet and pilfered bread is the tastiest. But he does not see the shadow world lying there. Second part, the Proverbs of Solomon. Proverbs chapter 10. A wise son is his father's joy, a foolish one his mother's heartbreak. Treasures wrongfully acquired are of no value, but upright living saves from death. Yahweh does not let the righteous go hungry, but he denies satisfaction to the evildoers. The lazy hand brings poverty. The prudent man reaps in summer blessings on the head of the upright man. Violence silences the cry of the wicked. The righteous will be remembered with blessings, the name of the wicked will rot away. The wise of heart is open to instruction, the chattering fool speeds towards ruin. Whoever behaves honorably will walk safely, but the follower of crooked ways will be punished. The wink of an eye brings trouble. The mouth of the righteous is a source of life, but violence is concealed in the mouths of evildoers. Hatred enkindles disputes, love covers over all offenses. Wisdom is to be found on the lips of the discerning man. The wise store up learning, but the mouth of the fool makes way for ruin. The rich man's fortune is his fortress, the poverty of the poor is their undoing. The virtuous man's toil brings him life, while the sins of the evil man destroy him. Respect for discipline is the path of life. Hypocritical is he who tolerates hatred. Sin will not be lacking where too many words are spoken. The upright man's tongue is pure silver, but the hearts of evildoers have little value. The lips of one righteous feed many people while fools die for lack of sense. The blessing of Yahweh brings riches, no effort can replace it. The fool delights in doing evil and the wise man in acquiring wisdom. The evildoer will encounter the evil he dreaded, whereas the upright man will receive what he looked forward to. After the storm the wicked man is seen no more, but the upright man remains forever. The lazy man is like vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes of his master. Fear of Yahweh lengthens one's life, but the years of the wicked will be cut short. The hope of the upright ends in happiness, but the expectations of the wicked come to nothing. The ways of Yahweh are a fortress for the upright, but for evildoers only ruin. The righteous will never be disturbed, but evildoers will not survive on the land. Wisdom springs forth from the mouth of the virtuous, but the corrupt tongue will be torn out. Goodness dwells on the lips of the upright, corruption in the mouth of the wicked. Proverbs. Chapter 11. Yahweh detests a false scale, but a just weight pleases him. Disgrace always accompanies pride. Honesty illumines the path of the upright. On the day of vengeance riches will prove useless, but honest living will save from death. The virtuous man's integrity smooths his way, while the wicked man falls by his own evil. Upright living saves the virtuous, while evildoers are caught in their own greed. The hope of the wicked is buried with them, and their trust in riches is of no avail. The upright will escape from distress. The godless man uses his mouth to destroy his neighbor, but the virtuous use their wisdom to save themselves. The city rejoices in the good fortune of the upright and delights in the ruin of the wicked. A city is raised on the blessing of the upright and destroyed by the mouth of the wicked. Whoever mocks his neighbor is a fool. The gossip reveals secrets, but the trustworthy man keeps a secret. Lack of guidance leads to a nation's decline, whereas numerous counselors bring success. He who stands bail for a stranger harms himself. A gracious woman wins renown, and bold men acquire riches. The generous man does himself a favor, while a cruel man wounds his own flesh. The pay of the wicked is an illusion. Upright living leads to life, but the way of evil leads to death. Yahweh detests the corrupt of heart, but loves those whose life is upright. Be assured that the wicked will not go unpunished, but those who are righteous will be saved. The pretty woman without discretion is like a gold ring in the snout of a pig. The upright desire nothing but good. Those who are generous increase their riches. The warm-hearted soul will prosper. He who hoards wheat is cursed by the people. Yahweh rewards the one who seeks good. He who trusts in riches will stumble. Whoever mismanages his house will inherit only wind. The fruit of the upright is a tree of life, while the wicked are uprooted before their time. If here on earth the upright get their due, how much more the wicked and the sinner. Proverbs chapter 12. He who loves discipline, loves knowledge. The good man wins the favor of Yahweh, who condemns the one of evil schemes. No man is made secure by evil, but nothing undermines the roots of the upright. A good wife is her husband's crown, while the shameless woman is like a cancer in his bones. The plans of the upright are honest, and the plottings of the wicked deceitful. The words of the wicked are mortal snares, but the virtuous refute and elude them. The evildoers are thrown down and are no more. Everyone is praised in proportion to his prudence. Better to be a common man and have a servant than to feel oneself great and run short of bread. The upright man looks after his animals, but the wicked are heartless. He who cultivates the earth will have his fill of bread, while the fool chases after illusions. The desires of the wicked produce evil, but the roots of the virtuous produce fruit. The wicked man is entangled in his own lies, but the virtuous man will be saved from misfortune. Those who meditate on wisdom will attain all that is good. The fool considers his way right, while the wise man listens to advice. The fool shows his annoyance immediately, but the discreet man overlooks an insult. The trustworthy witness leads to the truth, and the liar to confusion. The one who speaks thoughtlessly pierces like a sword. Truthful words endure forever, but lies, for only a moment. Deceit dwells in the heart of the schemer, happiness in those who pursue peace. No misfortune will befall the virtuous, but the wicked will have their fill of troubles. Yahweh hates the lips of liars and loves those who speak the truth. The discreet man conceals his wisdom while fools make public their nonsense. The hard-working hand will rule. Intense grief depresses the heart while a friendly word makes it glad. The just man guides his neighbor while the way of the wicked leads them astray. The lazy hand will have no game to cook, being industrious is the secret of wealth. Life is to be found on the path of virtue, the way of the wicked leads to death. Proverbs chapter 13. An intelligent child listens to his father's advice, but a mocker listens to no correction. A man can taste goodness from the fruit of his own mouth, but the treacherous feed on violence. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, the constant talker is lost. The lazy man hopes but his desires are in vain, whereas hard workers have their desires fulfilled. The righteous hates lying words but the evildoer slanders and defames. Virtue protects those of honest life. One pretends to be rich but has nothing, another, of great wealth, feigns poverty. A man's wealth lets him ransom his life, but the poor man has nothing with which to do so. The light of the virtuous is bright, the lamp of the godless is extinguished. Arrogance only brings trouble. Sudden riches will decrease, he who gathers little by little will be enriched. Delayed hope makes the heart languish, but desire fulfilled is a tree of life. The one who scorns teaching will be in want, those who respect the commandment will be rewarded. The wise man's teaching is a life-giving fountain for escaping the snares of death. Prudent intelligence wins favor, the way of liars leads nowhere. Every prudent man acts with reflection, the fool parades his stupidity. A wicked messenger falls on misfortune, the reliable one brings healing. Poverty and shame to the one who rejects correction. Desire fulfilled is sweet to the soul. Walk with the wise and you will gain wisdom. Misfortune hounds the sinner, while the upright abound in good fortune. A good man's inheritance is for his children's children, a sinner's wealth will be kept for the virtuous. The tillage of the poor supplies food, while others perish because of their lack of righteousness. Unloved is the child whom the father hates to punish. The upright man eats his fill, while the stomach of the wicked goes hungry. Proverbs chapter 14. Wisdom builds her house, foolishness destroys it with her own hands. Upright living is fear of Yahweh, but he who is devious in his ways scorns him. From the fool's mouth comes the rod of his pride, the wise man's lips protect him. Where there is no oxen, there is no wheat, in the oxen's strength there is abundant harvest. The truthful witness does not lie. The mocker searches for wisdom in vain. Keep away from the fool, for you will find no wisdom in his words. The wisdom of the discreet man lies in guarding his conduct, but the foolishness of fools is full of deceit. Fools never make amends, while goodwill dwells among the upright. The heart understands its own grief. The house of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will stand firm. To one, his way appears correct, but in the end it leads to death. The heart feels pain in the midst of laughter, and joy ends in sorrow. The reckless man reaps the fruit of his ways. The simpleton believes all he is told, the prudent man watches his step. The wise man fears and avoids evil, the fool goes near and feels safe. The angry man does foolish things, the crafty man makes himself hated. Foolishness is the inheritance of fools, the prudent choose wisdom as their crown. The wicked shall kneel before the good, and the godless, before the gates of the virtuous. The poor man is detestable even to his neighbor, while the rich man has many friends. A sinner is he who looks down on his neighbor, happy is he who shows pity to the poor. Does evil plotting not lead to ruin? Do goodness and sincerity not belong to those devoted to good? Hard work yields a profit, but the idler brings misfortune. Wealth is the wise man's crown, foolishness the diadem of fools. A truthful witness saves lives. There is great security in the fear of Yahweh, his sons find refuge in him. The fear of Yahweh is a life-giving fountain for escaping the snares of death. Numerous people are a king's glory. The discerning man is slow to anger, the impatient one displays stupidity. A peaceful heart is the body's life, but the passions are a cancer in the bones. Oppression of the weak insults their creator, he is honored by those who have compassion on the needy. The evildoer is overthrown by his own evil, the upright man feels safe up to death. Wisdom resides in the heart of the discerning. Virtue makes a nation great. The clever servant enjoys the king's favor, but the fool has to suffer his anger. Proverbs chapter 15. A kind answer soothes anger. The tongue of the wise speaks knowledge, but the mouth of fools spreads stupidity. The eyes of Yahweh are everywhere, watching the good and the evil. The pacifying tongue is a tree of life, while the viper's tongue destroys the heart. Paternal correction is scorned by the fool, but the one who listens shows discretion. Abundance resides in the house of the virtuous, but disgrace descends on the profits of the wicked. The lips of the wise sound knowledge, whereas the fool's thoughts are not safe. Yahweh detests the sacrifice of the wicked, but listens to the prayer of the honest man. Yahweh abhors the conduct of the wicked, but loves him who seeks virtue. Correct severely him who strays from the way. Yahweh sees into hell and the abyss. The mocker does not like being reprimanded. A glad heart brightens the face, a sad one weighs down the spirit. A discerning heart seeks knowledge, but the mouth of fools feeds on stupidity. Every day is evil to the afflicted one. Better to have little but fear the Lord than to have a fortune accompanied by anxiety. Better to have vegetables where there is love than to have a fattened ox with nothing but hatred. The hot-headed man provokes disputes, while the one slow to anger reconciles differences. The way of the lazy is strewn with thorns, but the path of hard workers is a spacious road. The wise child is his father's joy, but the foolish despises his mother. Foolishness appeals to the man with no sense, but the discerning man goes on his way. Plans fall through for lack of deliberation. Happy is he who knows how to answer. Welcome indeed is the apt word. To the discerning man, the way of life leads upward. Yahweh tears down the house of the proud, but he strengthens the widow's boundaries. Yahweh detests corrupt designs, but words of goodness are pleasing to him. He who craves dishonest gain brings trouble on his house. The man of upright heart thinks before he speaks, the mouth of the wicked pours out evil. Yahweh stays far away from the wicked but hears the prayer of the virtuous. A kind look delights the heart, good news revives one's strength. The ear which listens to helpful correction is found among the wise. He who ignores correction despises himself, he who heeds the reprimand acquires discernment. The fear of Yahweh is a school of wisdom. Proverbs chapter 16. Man's heart makes plans, but it is Yahweh who answers. Although people are satisfied with all of their deeds, Yahweh considers the motives. Entrust all you do to Yahweh and your plans will be realized. Yahweh made everything for a purpose, even the evildoer for the day of punishment. Yahweh hates the arrogant heart. With goodness and faithfulness you atone for your sin. When Yahweh is pleased with a man's conduct, he reconciles even his enemies with him. Better to have little but be just than to have a great income without honesty. Man's heart seeks the right way, but it is Yahweh who makes his footsteps sure. The lips of the king utter oracles. Yahweh demands a just balance and scales. Kings who do evil are an abomination. He who judges according to justice wins the king's favor, honest men are pleasing to him. The king's anger is a messenger of death, but the wise man knows how to appease him. The king's serene countenance means life, his favor is like the spring rain. Better to have acquired wisdom rather than gold, discernment rather than silver. The way of the honest man is to turn away from evil. Pride goes before destruction, an arrogant spirit before a fall. Better be humble among the lowly than share loot with the proud. He who listens to the word will find happiness. He whose heart is wise will be proclaimed discerning. Good sense is a life-giving fountain to those who possess it, foolishness is the punishment of fools. The wise man's heart keeps guard over his mouth, making his words more effective. Kind words are like a honeycomb, sweet to the spirit and healthy to the body. To one, his way seems honest, but ultimately it leads to death. The worker's appetite works to his benefit. The troublemaker prepares disgrace, a scorching fire is on his lips. The scoundrel stirs up trouble. A violent man deceives his neighbor and leads him along a path that is not good. He who closes his eyes and purses his lips to plot deceit already commits evil. White hairs are a magnificent crown for the one who has followed the path of virtue. The patient man is to be preferred to the hero. Fate is thrown in the bag, but the decision depends on Yahweh. Proverbs chapter 17. Better a crust of dry bread in peace than the discord of a house full of feasting. A shrewd servant will replace the foolish son of the master and will share the inheritance as one of the brothers. A crucible for silver and a furnace for gold, but Yahweh is the tester of hearts. The evil plotter listens to the lips of liars. He who mocks the poor insults their Creator, he who laughs at the deprived will not go unpunished. The crown of the aged is their children's children, the children's glory is their father. Noble language does not suit the fool, and even less do lies suit a prince. The giver of gifts possesses a treasure, wherever he goes he will succeed. Whoever covers over a fault promotes friendships, but he who reveals a word divides friends. A discerning man is more impressed by a reprimand than a fool is by 100 lashes. The wicked man seeks nothing but rebellion. It is better to meet with a bear deprived of her cubs than with a fool in his foolishness. He who repays good with evil will not rid his house of evil. To begin legal proceedings is like opening a dam. To excuse the guilty and condemn the just, both are detestable to Yahweh. What good is money in a fool's hand? How can he buy wisdom? He has no sense. A friend will love you at all times, a brother has been born to you for times of adversity. He who is full of promises and goes bail for his neighbor has no sense. The sinner loves disputes, the man of arrogant words hastens his own ruin. The man of double dealing does not find happiness, the sly tongue falls into disgrace. He who fathers a fool has acquired misery, there is no joy for a fool's father. A joyful heart gives health to the body, while a sad spirit dries up the bones. The corrupt man takes bribes to pervert the course of justice. The discerning man keeps wisdom before his eyes. The foolish son is a worry to his father and distress to her who gave him birth. It is not right to find the upright. The prudent of speech are wise. Then the fool, if silent, can pass as wise. Proverbs chapter 18. He who holds himself aloof follows his own whims and is annoyed at others' advice. The fool does not relish reflection but only the airing of his own views. When the wicked come, scorn also comes, and offense brings shame. Man's words are like deep waters. It is not good to give consideration to the wicked or to harm the virtuous when giving judgment. The fool's lips cause disputes and his mouth attracts blows. The fool's mouth is his undoing. The gossiper's words are tasty mouthfuls which go right to the bottom of the stomach. He who dawdles at work is a brother of the destroyer. Yahweh's name is a strong tower, the virtuous rely on it and are safe. The rich man's wealth is his fortress. Before its downfall, the heart is wrapped in pride. To argue before listening to the facts shows stupidity which leads to disgrace. The spirit of man sustains him when ill, but who will lift the one of broken spirit? The discerning heart obtains wisdom, the ear of the wise searches out knowledge. A present opens all doors to you and brings you into the company of the powerful. The first to plead his case seems to be right, but his opponent appears and there is matter for trial. Casting lots terminates disputes and decides between the powerful. A brother who is helped is more steadfast than a fortress, but quarrels are like the bars of a castle. A man is filled with what comes from his mouth and is nourished by what his lips provide. The tongue has power over life and death, those who like speaking will eat its fruit. He who finds a wife finds happiness, he has won Yahweh's favor. The poor man pleads, while the rich man responds harshly. Some friends only bring ruin, others are closer than a brother. Proverbs chapter 19. Better the poor man who lives honestly than the fool who lies. It is bad for men not to reflect, and acting too quickly can lead one astray. A man spoils his chances through his own stupidity, but it is against Yahweh that his heart rages. Wealth multiplies friends, but the poor man is deprived of his only friend. The false witness will not go unpunished, the liar will not escape. Many are the flatterers of the noble man, the whole world is a friend to the rich man. A poor man is hated by all his brothers, and even more so do his friends desert him. He searches for someone to talk to but finds no one. He who acquires wisdom loves himself, he who respects knowledge will be happy. The false witness will not go unpunished, the liar will perish. It is not good that a fool live luxuriously, still less that a slave command princes. A clever man is slow to anger. The angry king is like a roaring lion, but his favor is like the dew on the grass. The foolish son is the ruination of his father. House and wealth are inherited from a father, but a sensible wife is a gift from Yahweh. Laziness makes a man fall asleep, the idler will go hungry. He who keeps the commandment keeps his life. He who shows compassion to the poor lends to Yahweh, who will repay his good deed. Correct your son as long as there is hope, lest you be responsible for his death. The violent man leaves himself open to a fine. Listen to counsel and accept correction, and you will be wise in the end. Plans abound in the human heart, but only Yahweh's purpose will be realized. Goodness is attractive in a person. Love of Yahweh leads you to life. The lazy man dips his hand in the dish, but he cannot even lift it to his mouth. Punish the mocker and the ignorant will be more careful. He who dispossesses his father and evicts his mother is a shameful and degenerate son. My son, listen to instruction and stop straying from the words of wisdom. An unworthy witness makes a mockery of justice. Punishments were made for mockers and blows, for the backs of fools. Proverbs chapter 20. Wine leads to vulgarity and strong drink, to bravado. The angry king is like a roaring lion. It is good for man to avoid quarrels. Autumn is over, yet the fool does no work. Counsel is like deep water in the heart, the discerning man has only to draw it out. Many are called good, but where can the trustworthy man be found? The upright man who works honestly will make his sons happy after him. The king who sits in judgment discovers evil at a single glance. Who can say, I have purified my heart, I am cleansed from sin? The crooked measure and scales, these are the things that Yahweh detests. The child reveals himself in his deeds, whether his actions are honest and upright. The ear that hears, the eye that sees, Yahweh has made them both. Do not love sleep lest you become poor. No good, says the buyer, but off he goes congratulating himself. Although you have gold and abundance of pearls, the most valuable adornment is lips which speak wisely. Get rid of his clothes because he has stood bail for a stranger. Stolen bread tastes good, but later on your mouth is full of sand. Plans take shape, thanks to advice. The gossiper reveals secrets. Whoever curses his father and mother will see his lamp extinguished in the midst of darkness. Advantage hastily gained in the beginning will not be blessed in the long run. Never say, I will take revenge. Trust in Yahweh. Yahweh detests false weights. Yahweh directs a man's steps, who can know where his way leads? It is dangerous to make hasty promises to Yahweh and only then reflect on them. A king throws evildoers to the wind and runs the thresher over them. Man's spirit is Yahweh's lamp which searches the hidden places of the heart. Goodness and loyalty keep guard over the king. Energy is the adornment of youth, white hair the dignity of age. Bleeding wounds purify evil, blows bring healing to the inner self. Proverbs chapter 21. In the hands of Yahweh, the heart of the king is like running water. To the eyes of man all his ways are honest, but it is Yahweh who weighs the heart. To do what is upright and just pleases Yahweh more than sacrifice. Haughty looks, proud heart, the light of the wicked is sin. The plans of a hard-working man result in earnings. To make a fortune by means of deceit is like running after the wind. The violence of the wicked carries them away because they refuse to practice justice. The way of the criminal is devious. Better the corner of a barn to live in than a house shared with a raging woman. The soul of the wicked desires nothing but evil. When the mocker is punished, the ignorant man grows wise. The just one watches the house of the evildoer and hurls the wicked into misfortune. He who is deaf to the poor man's cry will not be heard when he himself calls out. A discreet gift pacifies anger, a bribe diverts violent rage. Upright men are glad when justice reigns, but evildoers tremble. He who departs from the ways of prudence will sleep in the assembly of the shades. Pleasure lovers remain poor, he who loves wine and perfume will never grow rich. The wicked man will pay for the virtuous and the treacherous man, for the honest. Better to live in a deserted place than with a raging and abusive woman. There is oil and precious treasure in the wise man's house, things which the fool squanders. He who seeks justice and mercy will gain life, prosperity and honor. The wise man conquers a city of warriors and tears down the walls they trust in. He who keeps guard over his mouth and tongue saves himself from anguish. Mocker is the name of the arrogant and haughty, he in whom pride abounds. The idler's desires lead him to death because his hands refuse to work. 26 He covets all day long while the upright man gives without stinting. Yahweh detests the sacrifice of the wicked, above all when they offer it for an unjust cause. The lying witness will perish, but he who listens wisely will be given time to speak. The wicked man tries to appear firm and stable while the honest man confirms his way. No wisdom, prudence or advice can withstand the look of Yahweh. The horse is equipped for the day of battle, but it is Yahweh who gives the victory. Proverbs chapter 22. A good name is better than great wealth. Rich and poor have something in common, Yahweh has made them all. The discreet man foresees disgrace and hides, the ignorant keep going at their own expense. The reward of humility is fear of Yahweh, wealth, honor and life. The path of the wicked is paved with thorns and traps, he who loves his life will keep his distance. Teach a child the way he should go, he will not stray from it while he lives. The rich man lords it over the poor, the borrower is the money lender's slave. Whoever sows injustice reaps disaster. The warm-hearted man will be blessed since he shares his bread with the poor. Throw out the mocker and the dispute will cease, fighting and insults will end. He who loves purity of heart and speaks sensibly will find a friend in the king. Yahweh's look protects the wise man and discredits the words of the liar. The lazy man says, "There is a lion outside, he will kill me in the street." The adulterous woman's mouth is a deep pit, he whom Yahweh wishes to punish will fall into it. The heart of the child is naturally foolish, the beating of instruction will cure it. When you oppress the poor, you make them grow. The Proverbs of the wise. Give ear, listen to the words of the wise and apply yourself to understanding them, because it will be your delight to keep them deep within you, to have them always ready on your lips. I wish now to teach you, so that you will place your trust in Yahweh. Have I not writ 10 for you 30 chapters of advice and knowledge so that you may recognize the truth and be able to answer rightly him who sent you? Do not take from the poor man just because he is poor or condemn the one in misfortune, because Yahweh will intercede for them and will carry off the life of their oppressors. Do not befriend the angry man or be a companion to the one of rage, for fear you adopt their ways and lose your life in their midst. Do not be one of those who undertake a commitment and act as guarantor of debts. Do not move the ancient boundaries established by your ancestors. You see a clever man at work. He will enter the service of kings. Proverbs chapter 23. If you sit at a table with a great man, beware of what is in front of you. Do not wear yourself out trying to be rich, do not dwell on it. Set your eyes on wealth and it no longer exists. Do not eat with the wicked man or be greedy for his choice food. All is apparent, for he plots in his heart. Eat and drink, he says, but he is not to be trusted. You will spit it out as soon as it is tasted and your words of praise will be wasted. Do not speak with a fool. Do not move the ancient boundaries or take possession of the orphan's land because his avenger is powerful. Apply your heart to instruction and your ears to words of wisdom. Do not hold back from correcting a youth. My son, if your heart is wise, then my own heart is glad, and my whole being will rejoice when you speak the truth. Do not envy sinners but, each day, fear Yahweh. Listen, my son, and you will be wise and you will make your heart go straight on its way. Do not be one of those who get drunk with wine or who stuff themselves with meat, since the drunkard and the glutton impoverish themselves and the sleepyhead is clothed in rags. Listen to your father who begot you. Acquire truth and never sell it. Happy the father of a virtuous man. How he will rejoice, he who fathers a wise man. May your father and mother rejoice and may she who bore you be glad. My son, give me your heart, that your eyes may delight in my ways. You should know that the prostitute is a deep abyss and the unknown woman a narrow well. Like a thief she lies in wait and she increases the sinners among men. For whom are the cries and laments? For whom the complaints and sighs? For whom the blows without reason? For whom the eyes which see double? For those who abandon themselves to wine and go in search of the well-blended wine. Do not consider the wine, how red it is and how sparkling the glass. How smoothly it flows. In the end, it bites like a snake and stings like a viper. Your eyes will see strange things and you will end up speaking nonsense. You will be like a man asleep on the high seas or at the rudder. They hit me but I am not hurt. They beat me but I feel nothing. When will I wake up? I will go in search of more. Proverbs chapter 24. Do not envy the wicked or desire their company, for their hearts dream only of violence and their lips speak nothing but evil. With wisdom a house is built. It is strengthened by prudence. Its granaries are filled by knowledge with all that is good, precious and desirable. The wise man is powerful. Wisdom is beyond the reach of the fool. The plotter of evil is called an unscrupulous mastermind. The fool dreams only of sin, the mocker deserves only contempt. If you lose heart and misfortune comes, miserable is your strength. Rescue those who are being carried away to die. Eat honey, my son, because it is good. Evildoer, do not spy on the house of the virtuous man, do not disturb his home. Because even though the virtuous man falls 7 times, he gets up again, while the wicked sink in their adversity. Do not rejoice if your enemy falls or let your heart be glad if he stumbles, lest Yahweh see and be displeased and his anger be turned on you. Do not be incensed by the wicked or envious of the ungodly, since there is no future in evil and the lamp of the wicked will be extinguished. Fear Yahweh and the king, my son. Other proverbs of the wise. It is not good for judges to show partiality. People curse and nations hate him who says to the wicked man, you are just. But those who punish the evildoer can boast. An honest answer is like a kiss on the lips. Finish your work out of doors and plan your work in the fields. Do not lightly bear witness against your neighbor lest you lie. Do not say, I will do to him what he did to me. I passed by the lazy man's field, near the vineyard of the senseless man. Everywhere it was full of weeds. Proverbs. Solomon's Proverbs chapter 25. These are also Proverbs of Solomon, recorded in the time of Hezekiah, king of Judah. The glory of God is in hiding secrets, and the glory of the king, in revealing them. As high as the skies, as deep as the earth, such is the heart of kings. Remove the impurity from silver and it will become a vessel in the hands of the silversmith. Remove the wicked from the king's presence and he will affirm his power through justice. Do not boast before the king or put yourself among the great. It would be better to be invited, come up here, than to be humiliated after having seen the prince. Do not be too hasty in accusing your neighbor, for what would happen to you should he confound you. Defend your case against your neighbor, but do not reveal the secret of another, lest he overhear it and despise you and your reputation be lost. An opportune word is like golden apples encased in silver. A gold ring or an ornament of fine gold, such is the wise man's rebuke to a responsive person. The trustworthy messenger is like the coolness of snow at harvest time, to him who sends him, he revives the soul of his master. Clouds and wind but no rain, such is the one who promises but does not fulfill. With a little patience you will persuade the judge. If you find honey, eat enough but not too much, lest you bring it up again. Go rarely to your neighbor's house lest he tire of you and grow to hate you. A mace, a sword, a keen arrow, such is the one who lies about his neighbor. A decaying tooth, a lame foot, such is the trust put in the ungodly on the day of trouble. Singing songs to a grieving person is like taking off your cloak in frosty weather or pouring vinegar into a wound. If your enemy is hungry, give him something to eat, if thirsty, something to drink. As the north wind brings the rain, so the gossiping tongue leaves angry faces. Better the corner of a barn to live in than a house shared with a whimsical woman. Proverbs chapter 26. Honors do not suit the fool any more than snow in summer and rain at harvest. The sparrow escapes, the swallow flies off, so the motiveless curse will have no effect. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, a stick for the backs of fools. Do not answer the stupidity of fools lest you become like them. Answer the stupidity of the fool lest he consider himself intelligent. He who sends messages by a fool is cutting his own feet. Like the unsteady legs of a lame man, such is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Honoring a fool is like tying a stone in a sling. Like a thorn branch in a drunkard's hands, such is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like an archer wounding all passers-by, so is he who employs a fool. The fool reverts to his stupidity just as a dog returns to his vomit. See that man who thinks himself wise. There is more hope for a fool. There's a lion in the street, the lazy man says, a lion in the square. The door turns on its hinges and the lazy man, on his bed. The idler dips his hand in the dish but is too tired to lift it to his mouth. The idler considers himself wiser than many people who answer tactfully. Interfering in the disputes of others is like grabbing a passing dog by the tail. As a madman hurls flaming, deadly arrows, so does the one who lies to his friend and then says, "It was just a joke." For lack of wood, the fire goes out. Charcoal on hot coals, wood on a fire, and a quarrelsome man for stirring up disputes. The words of the gossiper are delicious mouthfuls which go right down to the bottom of the stomach. Like silver on earthenware, so are smooth lips with a corrupt heart. The one who hates, disguises his words and keeps his treachery inside. He who digs a pit falls in it, and the rock he rolls away falls back on him. The liar hates his victims, the flattering mouth brings destruction. Proverbs chapter 27. Do not feel confident about tomorrow, since you do not know how today will end. Let another praise you, but not your own mouth. Heavy the stone and weighty the sand, but the fool's anger outweighs both. Wrath is cruel and anger, impulsive, but who can withstand jealousy? Better an honest rebuke than false affection. Worthy of trust is the friend who speaks honestly. The full mouth looks down on honey, the hungry one finds any bitter thing sweet. Like a bird far from its nest, so is the one who wanders from his own place. Oil and perfume gladden the heart. Never desert your friend or your father's friend. Learn to be wise, my son, and make me happy so that I can reply to those who insult me. The discerning man foresees danger and takes cover, but fools keep going, to their own loss. Get rid of his clothes, since he has gone surety for a stranger, seize him for the benefit of those unknown. If he, at dawn, blesses his neighbor in a loud voice, it shall be interpreted as a curse. The constant dripping of a gutter on a rainy day and a nagging woman have something in common. Stopping her is like stopping the wind and grasping oil in one's hand. Iron is sharpened with iron, contact with a neighbor sharpens a man's wit. He who tends the fig tree eats its fruit, he who looks after his master will be honored. As the face is reflected in water, so man finds himself in his own heart. Death and hell are never satisfied. A crucible for silver, a furnace for gold. Even though you grind the fool in a mortar, you will not rid him of his stupidity. Know well the state of your herd and tend to your flock, because wealth does not last forever and riches are not handed down from generation to generation. Once the pasture is mowed and the aftergrowth appears and the hay is gathered in from the hills, you should have lambs to clothe you and goats to pay for your fields, sufficient goat's milk to feed you, to sustain your household and provide for your serving girls. Proverbs chapter 28. The wicked man runs away even when no one is after him, but the virtuous man feels as safe as a lion. A country, for its sins, has many rulers. The evildoer oppressing the poor is like destructive floods which leave no food. Those who forsake the law applaud evil. The wicked have no understanding of justice, but those who seek Yahweh understand all. Better the poor but honest life than devious living, with riches. A clever man keeps the law, while he who associates with scoundrels brings shame to his father. He who adds to his wealth by usury and greed amasses it for another who has compassion on the poor. If anyone turns a deaf ear to the law, even his prayer is contaminated by sin. He who leads the virtuous astray will fall into his own trap. The upright will inherit happiness. The rich man thinks himself wise, while the poor but sensible man knows how to show him up. When the virtuous triumph, there is great feasting, but when the wicked dominate, everybody hides. Whoever conceals his faults will not prosper, but he who confesses and renounces them will be shown mercy. Happy the one who always lives in the fear of God. A roaring lion, a hungry bear, such is the bad leader of a poor people. The ruler lacking intelligence multiplies oppression. The man wanted for murder will be on the run until death. Let him go. He who goes his way honestly will be saved, he who vacillates between two ways will fall in one of them. He who tends his land will have an abundance of bread, while he who chases illusions will have his fill of misery. The trustworthy man will be heaped with blessings, but he who is preoccupied with getting rich will not be guiltless. It is not good to show partiality, but a man will do wrong for a mouthful of bread. The greedy-eyed man is on the lookout for wealth, not knowing that misfortune will befall him. He who reproves another will eventually enjoy more favor than the flatterer. He who steals from his father and mother saying, "It is not a sin," is just like a criminal. The greedy man brings about trouble. He who trusts in himself is just like a fool. He who gives to the poor will not be in need. When the wicked triumph, everybody hides. Proverbs chapter 29. He who resists correction will be broken suddenly and without remedy. When the virtuous rule, the people are happy, but they groan when the wicked are in power. He who loves wisdom makes his father happy, but whoever maintains prostitutes will lose his wealth. Through justice a king makes his country prosper. The one who flatters his neighbor lays a snare at his feet. In the wicked man's sins lies a snare for himself, while the upright man runs on rejoicing. The virtuous man is concerned about the problems of the poor. Mockers create disturbances in the city, but the wise turn troubles away. When the wise man argues with the fool, whether he is annoyed or joking, he will get nowhere. The violent hate the blameless man, but the virtuous seek out his presence. The fool gives free rein to his rage. When a ruler listens to false reports, all his ministers will be scoundrels. The poor man and usurer have something in common, both receive the light of day from God. The king who judges the poor with justice will affirm his throne forever. Both the stick and rebuke bring wisdom, while the spoilt child brings shame to his mother. When the wicked rule, sin abounds, but the virtuous shall witness their downfall. Correct your son and he will bring you rest. Where prophets are lacking, the people get out of hand. A slave is not corrected by words. You see a man dying to speak? There is more hope for a fool. If you spoil your slave from childhood, he will end up a rebel. The hot-tempered man provokes disputes, his anger multiplies his sins. A man's pride results in his humiliation, but he who humbles himself will achieve honors. He who shares with the thief harms himself. To be afraid of people is a trap. Many seek a ruler's favor, but each one's fate comes from God. The upright man detests the wicked and the evildoer hates the honest man. Proverbs. Sayings of Agag. Chapter 30. The sayings of Agag, son of Jakeh, of Massa. He says, my God, I am worn out and weary. Too stupid to be human, I am devoid of intelligence. Who has ascended the heavens and descended? Who has gathered the wind in his hands? Who has encircled the waters with his cloak? Who has established the limits of the earth? What is his name or the name of his son? Do you know? Every word of God is true, he is a shield in whom man can find refuge. Add nothing to his words lest he rebuke you and take you for a liar. O God, 2 things I beg of you, do not deny me them before I die. Keep lying and falsehood far away from me, give me neither poverty nor riches. Give me just as much food as I need lest, satisfied, I deny you and say, who is Yahweh? Or else, out of necessity, I steal and profane the name of my God. Do not accuse a slave to his master's face lest he curse you and you have to pay. What a people are those who curse their father and do not bless their mother, who consider themselves pure but their sins have not been cleansed. They have a haughty look and disdainful eye. The leech has 2 daughters, give me. And give me. There are 3 insatiable things and 4 which never say, enough, the grave, the sterile womb, the earth longing for water and the fire which never cries, enough. The eye which challenges a father and despises his aging mother, will be gouged out by the ravens of the valley and devoured by the eagles. There are 3 things which I cannot comprehend and 4 which I do not understand, the way of the eagle through the sky, the way of the snake on the rock, the way of the ship on high seas and the way of the human being within the mother. What can I say of the adulterous woman? She eats, and having wiped her mouth, she says, I have done nothing wrong. 3 things make the earth tremble. There are 4 tiny creatures on the earth that are among the wisest of the wise, the ants that are without strength, but in summer make sure of their supplies. 3 things have a stately step and 4 have a noble bearing, the lion, the bravest of animals, that retreats before nothing. If you have been foolish enough to get angry and afterwards regret it, cover your mouth with your hand. Since by churning the milk butter is produced, by squeezing the nose blood flows, and by stirring up anger arguments arise. Proverbs. The sayings of Lemuel. Chapter 31. The sayings of Lemuel, king of Massa, taught him by his mother. No, my son. Son of my womb, no. No, my most beloved son. Do not waste your strength on women, or your life on those who destroy kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, not for kings to drink wine or for rulers to love strong drink. Lest in drinking they forget what they have decreed and override the cause of the helpless. Give strong drink to the one about to die and wine to the heart full of bitterness, so that he may drink and forget his misfortune and remember his pain no more. Speak on behalf of the dumb and defend the cause of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, pronounce just sentences, defend the needy and the poor. The perfect wife. The woman of character, where is she to be found? She is more precious than any jewel. Her husband has complete confidence in her. She brings him only good and not evil, all the days of her life. She has obtained wool and flax, and works them with skillful hands. She is like the merchant ships which bring provisions from afar. She gets up while it is still dark, feeds her household and allots tasks to the servants. If she sets her heart on a field, she buys it and plants a vineyard with her own hands. She is full of energy and her arms show her strength. She knows her work is successful and, at night, her light remains unextinguished. She puts her hand to the distaff and her fingers hold the spindle. She reaches out her hand to the helpless and gives to the poor. When snow comes, she has no fears for her household since they are all doubly clothed. She makes her own quilts and her clothes are purple and fine linen. Her husband is well respected. She weaves linen cloth and sells it. She is strong and dignified and looks with confidence to the future. She speaks wisely and her words are kind. She keeps an eye on the conduct of her household and is never idle. Her sons rise up and call her blessed, her husband sings her praises. Many women have done wonders but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty useless. May she enjoy the fruits of her labor and may all praise her for her works. If you liked the video, subscribe, give me a like and activate the bell to receive notifications, share it on your social networks. Thanks for watching the video and God bless you.